This show is presented by Baker's Sports.
On today's show, we're going to be looking at the highlights from Bolds versus University Christian, sponsored by Baker's Sports. We're also going to visit Atlantic Coast versus Bishop Kenny, sponsored by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our athlete of the week is Michael Hume from the Bolles School. We'll also check out West Nassau versus Lee in football. We'll visit the highlights from the Baker's Sports Media Day. And lastly, we'll sit down with Mandarin quarterback Carson Beck. We'll be right back. It's time for ITG Next. I'm Haley Rash. We'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors, the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute and Baker Sports. The entire ITG Next team is so excited for football to be back, and we don't just mean our high school football. We're so excited for the NFL season. In honor of the NFL season kicking off, today's show we're going to be going over the top 5 NFL players ranked by the Bleacher Report. Coming in at number 5 is an individual that is known to be completely reckless. Number 5 is Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence played his entire professional career as a linebacker with the New York Giants. He is known to be the greatest defensive player in all of the NFL. He was completely reckless towards the other team, often changing pass rush schemes and offensive formations. He was a key member in the Giants' Big Blue Wrecking Crew that led them to 2 Super Bowl wins. Barry Sanders is one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, playing for the Detroit Lions, and he comes in at number 4. Before his pro career with the Lions, he was credited with one of the greatest college football individual seasons with 2,850 rushing yards and 42 touchdowns in just 12 games. Each year of his NFL career, he was invited to the Pro Bowl and was a 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Our next athlete is known for his incredible work ethic and is definitely the go-to man for every single quarterback. Coming in at number 3 is Jerry Rice. Speed, agility, and soft hands, Jerry had all 3 of these components to make him one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history. Jerry is the career leader in most receiver stats, such as receptions, touchdown receptions, and receiving yards. He was selected for the Pro Bowl 13 times and named All-Pro 12 times. He has scored more points than any other non-kicker in the NFL. Johnny Unitas earned the nickname Golden Arm for one reason. He comes in at number 2. Johnny U spent most of his career playing with the Baltimore Colts. He was a master of game-winning drives and the first of many to display the ability to read the defense and adjust. On December 28, 1958, he played in the NFL Championship and what is known as the greatest NFL game to ever been played. He led the Colts to a win in sudden death overtime. He also held the record for most consecutive games with a touchdown pass for over 50 years. Pretty much every single NFL ranking list has this running back as number 1. Next is Jim Brown. In his professional career, Brown carried the ball 2,359 times for 12,312 running yards and 106 touchdowns. He was known to be a bulldozer on the field, being almost impossible to tackle. He is the only player in NFL history to average over 100 rushing yards per game for his career. After his impressive career, he didn't stop there. He became a color commentator and an actor. Our photo of the week is of Nick Foles at his very first at-home Jaguars game. Our video of the week is of professional skater Tony Hawk as he skates around his hotel room. Now we look at Bolles versus University Christian, sponsored by Baker Sports.
The expectation to win is higher here than any place I've ever been. But I don't shy away from that. That there will never be anyone in the program that has a higher expectation to win than we do. I see how much work our coaches and players pour into this, and I feel a responsibility to do everything in my power to put them in the best situations to be successful. But that's not pressure. That is a sense of responsibility. Here we go. Bunch up, get a break, get a break, get a break. And so, I mean, I think that obviously we feel like we shot ourselves in the foot. Not to take anything away from University Christian. They played a great game and they executed when they need to and made plays when they need to. But we definitely got into a point where we were pressing, and that when you play football trying to make something happen, when you press, usually it results in mistakes. And that I felt that at some point we started to press and made continual mistakes.
Hey, listen, no feeling sorry for ourselves. This is our chance to prove how good we are. Hey, doesn't matter where they get it. This is our chance to prove how good we are. Let's go. Let's go out there and get a stop. Go out there and get a stop.
But the positive is like, look, we ran the ball effectively. We stopped the run effectively. And that usually that's a formula to win football
Lost
games.
him. Behind. Touchdown. Here we go, 1.
And I think the biggest issue would be, like, negatively is just our protecting the football, whether we were giving it away via turnover or special teams or penalty to continue drives.
We didn't touch it. We didn't touch it. We didn't touch it. No! Hey, make sure we're working at the ball, but hey, we can't get any penalties.
I mean, I think my message is always consistent. It's like, look, get better. If we win by 50, that's awesome. We need to find ways to get better. Then if we lose by 50, that sucks. Let's find ways to get better. And in a case where it's so obvious that we did things to cost us the game, it's easy to have the players understand, hey, look, we have a ways to go. We need to be better. And that if we can keep that mantra each week, finding ways to be better each week, regardless win, lose, by a lot, by a little, play well, play poorly, then hopefully we can get where we need to be come November.
Will this game define us? What cost us this game? Mistakes, shooting ourselves in the foot, penalties when we need to, turnovers, touching the ball, causing problems. And then again, those come down to me. How many of those things can we fix? All of them can be fixed. If we walked out of that and we said, hey, look, they just ran past us, they were physically too much for us, then we'd go back and we'd say, hey, look, they're just too good, and we move forward. That is not the case. Everything we did comes down to my job to make sure that we don't make those mistakes going forward. That we're going to have to be more dialed in, and we're going to have to do a better job of prepping. We're going to have to do a job of being better. Be excited for the opportunity to be better. Obviously, you should be frustrated, but on Monday, we got to be ready to go. You can never let a game beat you twice. So as this one is over with, we feel sorry for ourselves for 24 hours, but Monday, come ready to work. Okay, come Monday, come ready to work.
This show is presented by Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute are the team doctors for many different high schools here on the First Coast. Two of those high schools include Bishop Kenny and Atlantic Coast, and coming up next, we're going to see the highlights from one of their most recent games.
We came up short last week. We came up short last week because we gave it away. Ain't no handouts out here. We earn everything we get, so we're going to earn it tonight. You make them earn everything tonight. Whether it's a first down, whether it's kickoff, you make them earn it. Want to know? Want to know each rep? Want to know each series? Want to know each play? Take care of your job. All 11 take care of your job. I'm telling you, we're going to celebrate tonight. But we got to stay focused. You stay focused. One quarter, one series, one drive, one play at a time. Let's take care of this. Let's go. Let's go.
think the expectations are high. Kids are excited. It's something different that we're doing. Obviously, the objective is to win games, and that's what we expect to do. That's why I expected them. So it'll be nothing less than that. Whether it's 10, hopefully that's the ideal. Anybody wants to go undefeated, but we'll take them as they come.
I'm Michael Hume. I go to the Bulls School. I play soccer as a goalkeeper. My most memorable moment was last year when we played against Episcopal in the regional semifinals. So we'd played them in the district final before and we were able to beat them then, but we had to face them again and they're a big rival. So we always struggle to play them. They always play us close and we ended up pulling out a win 2-0, scoring in the last 1 minute to ice it. So yeah, it was really exciting. We got to dance around a little bit. After the sports career is over, so I'm not really looking to play in college. I might play clubs, so really then I'm going to focus on business. Going into college, I'm either going to major in economics or go to a business school, so either way I think it's going to funnel into the corporate world one way or another. Yeah, my dad was a 3-sport athlete in college and was a captain on all the teams, so he was always a leader and he raised me that way where I'm supposed to be able to be an example for everybody else on the team. So I feel like from that I've been able to transition into the captain this year as a senior and really show the guys the way, because we had a lot of young guys on our team this year. And yeah, he just taught me how to compete. I'd say the biggest thing is to not have too much of an ego. I think it's really easy to think that you're better than everyone else if you're a senior and you're a captain, but at the same time you need to embrace everybody's talents and realize that it's a team sport. So I feel like that advice has really helped me be more of a leader than just a singular player. I think for the most part it's kind of having a coalition of everybody on the team, making everybody feel like they're supposed to be there. On a lot of teams you kind of see seniors take charge and kind of senior privilege and feeling like they have rights that the younger guys haven't earned yet. But I feel like we kind of form more of a brotherhood with the team, and that's kind of how we got to go as far as we ended up going to the regional finals, because we were a team and we were always playing for each other, not for a singular player. I'd say one of the things I do really well is communicate. I'm always talking, always letting people know what I see. With my view in the back, nobody can really see the same way I can. And I'm not afraid to voice it. I feel like my teammates need to get used to it a little bit at the beginning of the year, but they realize that I'm not yelling because I'm upset with them or anything. I'm just trying to communicate it as clearly as possible, because in the end, we just all want to win for the same reason. Besides that, I also distribute pretty well. I've played in the field in the past in soccer, so I'm pretty good with my feet, and we like to play through me a lot so we can possess the ball. My biggest sports inspiration is Tom Brady. Not a favorite in Jacksonville, obviously, but I think he's a really good example of who I've tried to be as an athlete, is somebody who's not athletically superior to everybody on the field, but at the same time can still inspire his teammates and also be successful because I work as hard as possible to be as good as I can be. My name is Michael Paul Hume, and I'm living in the game.
The ITG Next team has the pleasure of being able to attend many different football games here on the First Coast. Most recently, we were able to attend the West Nassau versus Lee football game. One of our videographers, Jessica May, was able to interview the head coach of West Nassau, Ricky Armstrong.
Perfect game. We played good last week, but we'll get more competition tonight. Lee's a pretty good team. They lost to Bartram last week. It was a close game up until the fourth quarter, and they made some mistakes. I'm sure they've corrected some of those mistakes, and I think it'll be a pretty tough game tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Number 3, Zorian Stanton. He's one of my receivers and defensive back. Eli Canode, one of my tight ends on offense. Defensive wise, got one of my linebackers, Bryson Williams. He should have a pretty good game tonight. Just to be better people on the field. You know, they go crazy when somebody pushes them or whatever. Sometimes you got to swallow your pride. We're talking about sportsmanship this year, so I mean sometimes you got to swallow your pride and kind of calm it down, and you got to play football between the whistles. After that, it's over with. So.
The ITG Next team was able to attend the most recent Baker Sporting Goods Media Day. We were able to sit down with many different coaches here on the First Coast, and coming up next, we're going to get a close-up look at that day.
And welcome to Baker Sports Media Day. I'm your host, Nathan Dean from ITG Next. Alongside me is Coach Wiley from Rains High School. How's it going, Coach?
Going well.
So talk about what your expectations are for this year. You guys had back-to-back state championships. Great season for you guys. What's the plan and how are you guys going to keep the streak going?
Well, the plan is to get the same result. You know, we're going to come into it with, with a different little tweak in the plan, but that's every year, and we're going to try to emulate what we did last year. But more so than anything, just be who we are this year. You know, we can't rely on last year. Last year was last year. We want to just come into the 2019 season and be who we are. Every year, the team has its own identity. And so this team is trying to establish themselves as a winner, and we're competing every day.
And what's something that you preach to the guys week in and week out to stay focused for 2019?
Well, I always ask the question, what have we done this year? And everybody says nothing. And I said, that should be our motivation.
That's a great way to keep the guys focused.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite thing about being a football coach?
The planning, the working with the student athletes every day. Just the interaction between us two is it's good for me. It's healthy for me, and I really look forward to teaching them and more mentoring them to be young men as well. So it's a fun job.
And looking at your schedule this season, is there a certain game you guys have circled this year, or do you guys focus one game at a time?
We're one game at a time. You know, the schedule's deep. We know what has to happen. We know the importance of these games. Now that we're in the district, so the game changes a little bit. But we don't worry about what happened last year and the year before that. What we want to do is come out and just be who we are.
And although you try to move on from last year, not to focus on too much, is there something in particular that you want to improve on from last year?
Well, no doubt. You know, it's always room for improvement in this game. And one of the things is, you know, us being very detailed. You know, being detailed. That's the thing. That's the model this year with the coaching staff to the players. We want to be very detailed in what we do because we know that we are the hunt.
And who are some of the key players we can look out for on Friday nights at Rains?
Trayvon Hobbs, Reggie Williams, Derek Neely, Jamon Goodwine, just to name a few, man. Those guys, Marquell Horbert, those guys, we're going to lean on those guys because they've won back-to-back. They've been in the program, so we're going to lean on them a little bit to be special.
And what have they kind of taught some of the younger guys to show their leadership and as the younger guys get into the program?
You have to be consistent every day. You know, when you come to work with your hard hat, you got to be consistent. And that's what they've been trying to relate to the younger guys. And they're listening. They're listening.
Awesome. So is there a message you can send to all the Viking fans as they get ready for 2019 for another big year?
You're going to be shocked.
You're going to be shocked?
You're going to be shocked. Yes, you're going to be shocked. And, you know, be excited. Be very excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Coach Riley. This has been another edition of Baker Sports Media Day.
The ITG Next team was able to sit down with one of the top high school quarterbacks here on the First Coast. Coming up next is our interview with Mandarin's quarterback, Carson Beck.
Alongside me is one of the best college quarterback recruits coming up here as he's heading over to Georgia, Carson Beck from Mandarin High School. How's it going?
I'm doing well.
So what are you excited for most about this season?
First off, football's coming back.
Right.
So, I feel like any high school football player is going to be excited about that, but I'm definitely excited about the grind. Get back kind of to where we left off.
And what's some of the things you want to improve on from last year?
Probably the accuracy. My completion percentage wasn't as high as I wanted it to be, so probably the accuracy to get my completion percentage up.
And what's something that you kind of try to be a leader now for this as you're in your final year for Mandarin? What's something you try to teach some of the younger guys coming in?
Just keep working hard and don't slack off. I feel like a lot of the younger guys kind of have a short attention span. And that's natural. They're still maturing and growing up, but just try to stay focused at all times, like no matter if it's the end of practice or beginning of practice or any time.
And you guys had a nice state championship win, but can you tell me something else that was the most memorable moment for you guys?
Probably our comeback win against the Lambs. I think it was the fourth game. I had just gotten off an injury and we were down, had the 90-yard drive at the end, and that was probably my favorite game besides the state championship game.
And who has helped you the most in your sports career up to this point?
Probably my dad, honestly, and not even the physical side of it. Obviously pushing me to go work out and all that type of stuff, but definitely the mental side because he was there, he played in college, and he knows what you have to do to be great and get to that point. So.
And who do you look up to in the sports world? Is there any athlete that you look up to the most?
Yeah, probably Tom Brady. Obviously
he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a pretty good quarterback, but just how underlooked he was coming out of college. He was the number 2 guy for the majority of his college career, and then drafted in the 6th round, and now look what he is. So he always played with a chip on his shoulder, and I feel like I always play with a chip on my shoulder. So.
And what's something that you kind of look forward to as you get to your final year? Is there something that you focus on the most?
Obviously winning another state championship. So just playing for my team and doing what I can.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. A special thank you to our sponsors, the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute and Baker Sports. Also, make sure you're following us on our YouTube channel, where you can see our What's Next segment, which is featuring the University of North Florida's cheer team. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. For all of our Florida viewers, you can follow us at itgnext.florida, and for our main page, you can follow us at ITG Next. Also, if you have an inspiring story you would like to share with us, you can DM that to us, or you can submit your story on our website. That's www.itgnext.com. Also, while you're on our website, you can check out our most recent Jacksonville collection and other apparel as well. Also, we'd like to thank our most recent apparel photo shoot photographer, Anne-Marie O'Brien. She is head of Annie B Photography. Thank you so much, Emery, for taking the time to come out and shoot our most recent apparel shoot. Thank you so much for watching ITG Next.